to you, Janice, to keep going.
Okay, thanks. So thanks for that, Tim. I was going to ask him a question, and then I thought, no, Deb's about to answer it, actually, about how do you get all of the little bits to talk to each other. I know that that's something that we come up against a lot with our users, that they want everything to be integrated, and I'm forever trying to say, but different things can talk to each other. But rather than get Tim to answer that, I think I would be stealing Deb's thunder if I got Tim to do that. So I'm going to get Deb to do that. I'm after you. So this time it doesn't matter if you run over time, because I'll talk in whatever space I have left. So just in case anyone wasn't here earlier, Deb's an ex-lawyer who now just specialises in automation for lawyers, works remotely, uses all sorts of different products. This morning, she talked to us about the importance of having a look at your workflow and what it is that you want to achieve. Now she's going to talk to us about actual automation options for you as a lawyer. And like I said, sort of how do you get 5 options to talk to each other? Is that a thing? Can it work? What does it look like? And then after Deb, I'm going to talk about automation options for marketing. So I'll take a bit of a deeper dive into things like HubSpot, MailerLite, and ways that you can use that to save you time or to be more effective.
So hello again, everyone. You probably are getting to the pointy end of the day and realise there is so much involved in just running a legal practice. Tim's exactly right. There's so many different pieces of software that you can use, and each different piece does different things really, really well. So how do we fit it all together? Do you even try to fit it all together? The key thing everything comes back to is the design. And that's when you need to think about your solution, your particular solution. Who's your target client? What's their problem? How are you going to solve their solution? Are you going to talk to them only via Zoom? Okay, well, we'll use just Zoom. Are you going to have an office and only talk to people in your office? Are you going to have a hybrid thing? How are you going to make appointments? Do you want people, like Bruce is saying, to be able to leave a message on your website and then get back to them? That might work really, really well if your target client really values, picking up the phone and speaking to somebody on the phone. If you've got business clients like what I used to do, they would be very, very busy. They would send you like one-line emails at random times, day and night. And so being able to get them to sit down for an hour was an incredibly hard thing to do. So you used to doing things piecemeal as well. So my first question for you, and throw your answers in the chat if you're ready. Why can't you automate absolutely everything in one piece of software? Throw your answers in the chat there. Do you think maybe it's because we're all exactly the same and so we have to do everything exactly the same? Or are we all pretty unique? Yeah, exactly right. Cookie cutters will go out of business because there will always be someone who can do the same thing cheaper. And people are very, very simple, very, very simple in their mind. They will always, if they can get the same outcome, they will always go cheaper. So you need to differentiate yourself, have a different process so that you can build your value up for your value price as well. And you should be concerned if an all-in-one solution suits your firm. That's right. If it does, it shows that you're probably exactly the same as everyone else. So how do you actually differentiate yourself? For me, I get in touch with people on social media. I get a lot of feedback from people on social media, particularly my group as well. I also run, so I put a book out there because, you know, I was bored for 4 months. So I just got up early and started writing a book, getting all those ideas out of my head as well. And then I turned that into an online course as well. So I've got that online course, but I've also got a group of students that on an ongoing basis, I meet on a weekly basis. So 1 hour each week, we just get together and we just map out these legal solutions. We can throw around ideas, that sort of thing. So for me, that's how I connect with people and then get the referrals that way as well. Would that work if I just got off the shelf, you know, Salesforce through Office 365? Probably not. I don't need their ticket, like Zendex ticketing system. I don't need all of that sort of thing because it's just me and my business. So I have to work out what my solution is, what all the steps are involved, and then what's the most efficient and effective way to do each of those steps. And you can use tools like Zapier to take data from one to another, but it's also equally valid if it's going to be the most efficient and effective way to just do it manually. You'll see lots of pieces of software are starting to talk to each other as well, but just look at what the software actually achieves. So you wouldn't use, say MailChimp for, you know, doing up settlement sheets and things like that. You wouldn't rely on, you know, just Excel to do settlement sheets if you've got a much more effective tool to do that. So it's about stringing together what actually works for you. Okay, so I'll share this one for you.
Sorry, just a question there for those who are new to automation.
Yep.
Can you just explain Zapier a little bit more? What is that? I know Tim explains it as the glue for the internet of putting it together. And I've put a link there. We love Zapier and how it does things. But for those who are new, what is Zapier?
Okay, so you know that software is all in the cloud at the moment. So basically you put data into one piece of software and it will use it within that system. So if you've got Office 365, they will use, you know, Word and PowerPoint, that sort of thing. And you can use your data in different programs, but all within the same group. So you'll also find there's different pieces of software out there, like Family Property and like, you know, Zapier, like, I don't know, like MailChimp and all these other bits and pieces that do one segment of your solution really, really well. But sometimes you need to be able to get the data to talk to each other. So these pieces of software, sometimes they have integrations built in. So products that work very, very well together. Or they might have, you know, just a partnership arrangement or that sort of thing will actually do that. But if you want, if you've got a piece of software, say Xero or something like that, and you want it to talk to another piece of software and there's no integration as well, you can put a middleware software in there. And Zapier is a very popular middleware software. So you can actually set it.
An example, when everyone signed up for the form for today, and then you got that Google Calendar invite, I used Zapier to make MailerLite and my Google Calendar talk to each other. They don't normally talk to each other. So I didn't sit here and manually invite you all.
No.
I told Zapier, every time someone joins this group, send them this.
Yep. So I've also got a quiz bot on my website. So every time somebody finishes that quiz bot, I send them an email and then add them to my mailing list, and then it sends out a series of 8 emails over 8 weeks or something like that. I don't do anything to do that. I'm off playing with my kids. So you can, you know, you can go on to my website, you can buy my book, you can sign up to the course, you can get, you know, 3 weeks into content in the course before I even, you know, come back from holidays and start talking to you. Of course, part of my solution is being, you know, very proactive as well. So I will actually pick up the phone, I will email you and have that human interaction as well. But so much of it is automated that I can just step away. A great example was, probably about a month ago, I was in hospital with my youngest daughter for 2 nights. So we literally just had to pick up and go into hospital for 2 nights. So I was still able to sell products off my website. I didn't actually have to do anything. Everything's already set up. So it depends on what you want to do with your business. For me, I've got, a lot of things that I can actually fully automate, but the things that are going really, really well are the courses where there's a lot of group interaction as well. So I do actually get involved in that, but things like the majority of the content is videos and information that I've already set up. So I just simply need to repeat it. So anyway, that's what Zapier is. It's that middleware software so that you can pull data out of one piece of software and get it to talk to another one and do it all automatically. So you don't have to manually type in names and addresses, all that sort of thing. Anyway, so let's go back to having a look at the solution. And one of the key things is to be simple. So from psychology terms, the easiest way to be simple is to try and reduce all of these things. Reduce the time it takes for people to do something. Because naturally we are very, very simple creatures. If we're going to get to exactly the same outcome, we will not spend a lot of amount of time on the same thing. So, for example, cook dinner. Cook dinner. I could either, go and get something that I can do in 30 minutes and just whack in the oven in 30 minutes to get the same outcome, or I could spend 2 hours doing the same outcome to get to the same outcome. If I'm not going to actually achieve anything along the way, like for example, I love cooking, so that's why I'll spend 2 hours. If all I want to do purely is put dinner on the table, absolutely I will go the fastest one every day. Money, trying to reduce money as well. So money is a huge factor in a lot of decisions, particularly busy business people. And you could just imagine money is also closely linked to a lot of people's fears. So fears about costs, fears about what's going to happen in the future. When people are highly emotional and they're fearful, they like to gather things. So you might find that some of your clients, when they're in stressful situations, they like to save as much money as they possibly can. So if you can offer part of your services and do it in a way that's going to cost them less, it might be more attractive to them. So some examples are saying, look, offering 2 versions of the same service, one where it's an affordable service, you do a lot of the work, you do the information gathering, you go and gather this for me, you go and do this for me, you go and do that for me, and I will help you along the way, versus a full service product where all they have to do is hand over the information and you will do absolutely everything. So you can put 2 different prices on those 2 products. The end result will be the same, but one will be less money along the way, so it appeal to different target clients. The next thing we want to reduce is the physical effort. Obviously, people who want to actually increase their physical effort have got a different outcome as well. But if you can get the same outcome, one way there's less physical effort and one way is more physical effort, people will generally choose the less physical effort. So in lawyer terms, take, for example, a cost agreement. If you print it, post it to them, tell them to sign it, get it witnessed by a JP, email it back to you, that's a lot of effort, particularly for, a mum with kids or an older person who's not great with technology, because, that involves waiting for the mail, then you have to sign it, then you have to find a JP, then you have to find a way to scan it and email it back, and then you have to go and post it back. It's all just too hard. If you're able to set up, say, your cost agreements and send it through DocuSign, or send it through some other automation or something like that, they can get it on their phone, they can flick through, they can agree with it, and then they can digitally sign it. It will be back to you in less than an hour. It is so simple. The next thing we want to reduce is brain cycles. So that's basically how hard someone has to think to do something. So the key here is to be very, very clear and put it in a way that's meaningful to them. So if someone's struggling to understand you or struggling to understand what's required of them, they're going to think too hard and they're going to get stressed and worry and make mistakes. But if you can make it incredibly simple so they can't go wrong, they will be more successful and they'll be happier about it. So like, for example, if you send them an email and say, I need you to do this, send them a quick link and a button and say, fill out this form. That's really, really simple. If you send them an email and say, oh, I need you to go down to the library, I need you to get this book, I need you to photocopy this page, then I need you to do this, and then I need you to do this. You need to scan it back in, and then I need you to go to a superannuation fund and do this, 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 and this. It's just too hard, isn't it? It's just way too hard. The next thing is trying to reduce social deviance. So social deviance is doing something different to all of your friends, basically. So if everybody's on Facebook interacting in groups in a social setting, and you want to connect with potential clients in a social setting, get a Facebook group. Really, really simple. If you want to connect with mums with school-age kids, start hanging around in the parks after school. You know, all those sorts of things. You want to be connected with the people, connected with your target client. Because if somebody has to go outside of what the social norm is, they're going to get stressed and worried, and that's going to be harder for you, and that your service will be less appealing as well. And also non-routine as well. So if you send something to someone by post and they're not used to receiving mail and opening letters and having to go and find a JP and all of that sort of thing, it's going to be too hard. If you explain exactly what they need to do or try and simplify that process as much as possible, it might be as simple as, hey, you've got some documents to sign, come into the office. Or, hey, you've got some documents to sign, go to Bruce's office down here and he will have everything ready for you. It's much easier for them to do that. Does that make sense, everyone? Yeah? Okay. Okay, so let's go back to your ideas. What sort of ideas, and again, throw your ideas into the chats. What sort of ideas have you come up with, ways you can automate part of your solutions? Obviously, we've got family property and what they do as a niche as well. But thinking about, you know, every step of the way, how are you going to communicate with clients, book appointments, market to your clients? How are you going to get feedback from your clients? All those tiny little steps, how will you go ahead with those? And again, keeping in mind, try and keep it simple. Get the client's basic information into a practice management system. Yeah. So that basic information you can also use on a marketing list. You can also use, you know, CRMs as well. So you can bring it up when a matter's finished, bring it up in 6 months' time and touch base with them, see if they need something else. Yeah. Any other ideas? How are you going to initially communicate with your potential clients? Going to do it online? Are you going to offer the free initial consultations? Yeah, offering some information. So thinking back to family law clients, most of the time they're in a situation. It's probably highly emotional. They're looking for information on what to actually do. So one of their big problems is they don't know what the next steps are. So solve that problem. Create information documents that they can download from your website that say, look, these are the 3 things you need to do right now. The 3rd thing being book an appointment with me. That's it. Really, really easy. So we've got the chatbots as well. Chatbots are great because they can answer all of those 20 questions that you always get. You can automate those. So it's really easy for somebody to sit on the couch with their phone or tablet and just click through a series of frequently asked questions. And that will probably save having to make a phone call, talk to somebody and waste somebody's time at the law firm as well. So a lot of people are a bit shy as well. They will try and gather a lot of information before they actually approach your business. They want to learn as much as possible before they approach your business, because remember, potential clients are scared of lawyers. They're scared of the potential costs. So you're not going to get 100% of people ring up the law firm and say how much you're going to charge, because they'll be afraid of what the answer is. If they can get as much information as possible, it also increases their trust factor in you, because they're more likely to like and trust lawyers who are willing to actually put practical information out there. It doesn't have to be legal advice. Obviously, we can't put legal advice out there, but we can do simple things like, hey, make sure you've got money in your bank account. B, make sure you're safe. C, book an appointment and we'll talk further. So really, really simple steps, and that can help alleviate someone's emotions by giving them practical steps on what to do. Yeah. So what do I do? What do I do next is usually the big things as well. So using automation as well. Some of the benefits of using the automation obviously reduces the time and cost of preparing content. So might be emails, might be documents, might be information statements, might be guides, might be settlement statements, all of that sort of thing. So if you can get some data and manipulate that data and use it and do that automatically, you probably should. Obviously, with the legal advice, it's how we actually analyse that data and give advice on that data. But hey, what's your name? What's the balance of your bank account? That sort of thing. You don't need a lawyer asking those questions. You can also significantly reduce the risk of significantly reduce the risk of manually customising your content as well. So we've all been in a situation where we've been thrown thrown a case at the last matter and said, here's a document, I need you to change this document to suit that. So how many people get really stressed about being in that situation and having to remember all the things we need to change in the document? No one's been in that situation before? Oh, come on. We're all lawyers, right? We've all been in that situation. Someone's thrown something at us at the last minute and said, look, change this, it's suit that.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, exactly.
Of course. So, sorry, I was just on mute. Of course we have. Exactly.
So do you feel really happy about it, or really, really stressed and have like a million things going on in your head?
You're stressed and you're trying to remember and make sure that you've got all of them. And if I send something out, I look stupid because I've missed one thing that I didn't change. And
yep. So wouldn't it be so much better to anticipate those sorts of situations and go, well, obviously you can't anticipate everything, but go, okay, well, what's the checklist that's in my head?
Mm-hmm.
How do I can design that into my document, into my automation, ask the right questions so that it makes all the variations that I need.
Yeah.
And I don't forget anything.
Be handy.
Really, really handy. Reduces your stress, also reduces, the human risk, the risk of making mistakes and that sort of thing.
Yeah, because we've got systems that you put in all of the information, you do sort of a questionnaire at the beginning and it feeds it into your documents, but you make the change and you still have to go through and manually you make the change in the questionnaire, and the next document it prepares has got that new information in it, but not the things that you've already completed.
Yeah. And how frustrating is it when you do something in Word and you send it to another lawyer and they make one little change, or they don't do a cross-reference properly in Word. They put it in hard. Obviously, when I started drafting documents a long time ago, it's you did everything like the hard way, and you had to cross-check and triple-check all your settlement statements and all the numbers that you put in documents, and actually go back and cross-check everything, because we didn't have those little automation snippets. We couldn't just do that. But the automation takes away that risk. It reduces your stress and your anxiety. It means you can also get your client involved. They can input their own data. So if you give them, a simple chatbot or a simple questionnaire and say, hey, can you fill in these details for me? That's great. You don't have to touch that data. You're not likely to get it wrong. you know, the names of their children, that sort of thing. Imagine having a spelling error that carries through everywhere. If your client is inputting their own data, that not high risk that you're going to get that spelling error as well. It also helps with understandability as well. So instead of just sitting in a room and talking to your client and taking endless notes, your client have no idea what you're actually doing. You give them an opportunity to be involved so they actually understand the extent of the work that you're doing for them. So that's really, really helpful as well. Okay, so it all comes back to the design of your content, the design of your document as well. So depending on what you want to achieve, you can generally come up with a few different streams. So you might have, say, parenting agreements. There might be a different one for different types of families. You might have a will and different type of will for different types of situations as well. So you focus on designing the document that you use most often, and you can use that as basically like a root document, and then you can duplicate that and put different clauses and things that you need in there, set up different optional clauses. But also think about other things that you can automate. So it might be guides. You can customize those guides and get people to answer 5 questions on your website or something, and it produces an information statement that's actually relevant to them. Put their name in there, put only relevant content in there, take away content that's not relevant, put in a video or put in a link to do something next. So book an appointment with me, or go ahead and complete this chatbot and give me some more data. So those sorts of things are really, really helpful as well. If you're really interested in the intricacies of customizing documents and designing the documents, get in touch with me. That's one of the services that I provide. So I can help you go through and redraft your documents, explain, you know, different conditions, different variables, and how we can actually automate things in the software that you're using as well. But we can also, once we redesign your documents, we can also take that information out and actually design a questionnaire that's simple and relevant to your clients. So they only get the questions that are relevant to them. They don't get questions that they don't need to see as well. So some examples of tools that you can use along the way. Tim mentioned a few. Obviously there's Zapier as well. There's Office 365. The big thing is to go away and look at the software that you've already got available and look at what the purpose of the software is and what the outcome is. So things like if you want to touch base with potential clients, in a social setting, where do people go to socialize these days? Throw it in the chat. Where do people go when they socialize? If they don't want to go out to a pub, obviously COVID, yeah, so Facebook. People go and socialize when, you know, they go to Facebook. What do people do when they want to know information on the specific topic? Google it. So make sure you've got a Google presence. Google my business. You can put a heap of posts up there. You can link them back to your Facebook page. You can link them back to your website. You can link them back, say, you know, link them back to a chatbot or something like that. Link them back, give them another step as well. So, you know, the people who are not online, where do they hang out? Your target client. If they're not online, where do they hang out? Sunday afternoon at Bowls Club. Have a presence at Sunday afternoon at the Bowls Club. You know, think about what's incredibly simple. Yeah, and then it all takes the next steps from there. So I mentioned earlier that I've got book and course. Just put that up. Mentioned earlier that I've got a book and course as well. So if you're interested in going ahead with that, there's a 20% discount code for you. So it's $220 and then minus 20%. I don't know, I'm not a maths teacher. So if you just use, here's the deal there. And Yeah, so if you want some more information about what I do, just have a look at my website, supportlegal.com.au. And if you want to talk to me, my email address, I'll just pop it in the chat as well. Feel free, we can set up a time to chat online. Are there any questions?
Just wanted to say thank you. As the CEO of Family Property, we've been following Deb for a while now, and I think we've sort of started looking at your course. I know we've got to get into it, but I know how great it is in looking at really understanding the client journey and looking at points that you can automate. And Deb's really supportive in the way she assists lawyers to free them up from doing. Our sort of vision is really to free up you as lawyers from doing the admin work, the boring work that perhaps you can't charge for, and really enable you to do the work you love as family lawyers, providing legal advice, strategic advice, that EQ, the things that technology can't do. So
it all comes back to the design as well. So obviously Fiona and Tim are the tech experts. I bring it back to the design element. So sitting down with you, looking at what your vision is for your solution, helping you design that solution, put in some psychology concepts to make it naturally appealing to your clients, taking it one step further and putting that solution as well actually within the drafting of your documents. Once you've got all of that sorted, automation is a breeze. Absolutely.
Excellent. And the book's great and the course. So if you're looking at legal design and automation, then do get in contact with Deb, and we have that collaborative relationship with Deb. So thank you so much for your talk, not only this morning, but also this afternoon, and being around all day to learn.
Thank you. I might have to watch Bluey or something like that.
I know you normally finish at lunchtime, so we do.
Yes, this is a long day.
So we've only got, I think, two more talks, but important talks on